Hi guys, this is blog number 2, and today we're going to be talking about how to prepare for a check ride. So here's a few of my tips and tricks that I've used in the past to help me pass my check ride. Alright, the first one is coming in prepared. So that means having all of your paperwork and necessary documents just ready to go. I put mine in a folder, and then that way I can just carry the folder with me and then whip it out as I need it. So some of those things that I include in my folder includes the written test, so my written test results, my graduate certificate because I came from a 141 program, make sure my logbook is with me. I have my student pilot certificate, a U.S. driver's license, and my medical. So I put all those in one place so that way it's easy for me to just pretty much hand it to the DP so it's just set and ready to go. The other thing is aircraft logbooks. Now, before you go on your flight, your DP is going to ask you, hey, is your airplane up to inspection? What I like to do, so I'm not just frantically paging through the pages of my logbook, my aircraft logbooks, is I like to tab them. So then that way I can just flip directly to them. Another thing that I've seen some people do is they'll make a list of all the inspections, and when they were due, just show the DP the list. And then from there they ask, maybe they do want to see them in the actual logbook, but then that way you at least have a paper saying yes, so you can, yourself, yes, the annual's done, yes, the 100 hours done, stuff like that. Also make sure that you have your DPE's payment ready. This is how they make their living, this is how they get paid, so make sure you have the full amount. Call them ahead of time, ask them if they accept cash, check, credit. I haven't met anyone who's used credit or Venmo. I'm sure they're out there somewhere. Not sure how they do it, but just make sure you clear it up with them ahead of time so that way when you come in there, you're not confused and they're able to accept your payment. I use a couple different documents when I'm studying for the check ride. The first one is the Airman Certificate Standards or Certification Standards. You can find this simply by Googling it. It's on the FAA's website as a PDF. They have one for the private, for the instrument, for commercial. If you get to CFI, they have Practical Test Standards. It's the same thing under a different name. Not sure why they changed it. Basically, all it does is it tells you step by step what topics you're going to be talking about during your check ride. So it includes the ground information and it includes your flight information. The beauty of having the flight information there is it lists all the completion standards. So it lists how you need to do the maneuver according to the FAA. For steep turns, for example, have to be plus or minus 5 degrees angle of bank. The other document that I like to use is the oral exam guide, because I'm a first generation pilot, which means none of my immediate family is a pilot, so none of them are very familiar with anything to do with aviation, which makes it kind of hard to study because I like to be quizzed. So to make it easier, I got the oral exam guide because it's question and answer, so they can ask me the questions out of the book and I have studied the book and I can answer the questions. So I'd highly recommend using this for training. Also the Airman Certification Standards, which is what this is based off of. So I'll try to include a link to both of those down below. Not sure how that works yet, but I will figure it out for you guys. On the day of the check ride, you also want to make sure that you're presenting yourself in a professional manner. The DPE does have a lot of connections, and aviation is a very small industry, so your name can get around. So make sure you're coming in wearing business casual is typically what people wear. Of course, you also want to dress for the weather. So if it is really hot outside, don't wear a suit and tie. It's going to be miserable. Your DP will understand that. If you just come in a polo and khakis, you're going to be fine. And the same goes if it's cold. Another thing that gets a lot of people anxious about taking the check ride, which is perfectly normal to be anxious, if you do forget something, it is okay to look it up. There's no problem whatsoever looking it up. Just make sure you're using a correct resource. If it's a maintenance question, refer to the pilot's operating handbook. If it's a regulation question, you can look at the FAR-AIM. Make sure you have a current edition though, current for the year. Just don't look up everything. If you go into a Checkride and you know nothing and you're looking up all the answers, that's a huge red flag for your DP. Like, maybe this guy doesn't know what he's doing. That's not good. But if you do forget something, it's okay. Don't freak out. You can look it up. I forgot something, what something was on the sectional. So I just turned to the legend and I looked it up. That's fine. It's a real world situation. You're not going to have 100% of everything memorized. That's impossible. You're going to have to look things up, and that's fine. There's no problem. When you're taking the flight portion of the Checkride and you mess something up, that's okay. Most DPs will let you give it another shot. As long as you see that you have made a mistake and you start correcting for it, they're usually okay with that. They can be pretty lenient. Of course, that's depending on the situation and what maneuver or whatever you're doing is, depending on what it is. They're not always going to do that, but most of the time, they understand that you are very nervous, and they will usually give you a couple of redos to help you calm down a little bit. Another question I get is, what if I fail a Checkride? If you fail a Checkride, you're not gonna be happy with yourself, but I promise you, it is not the end of the world. It's okay. All kinds of people fail Checkrides. It can happen to anyone. You're gonna be okay. Take a deep breath and go do remedial with your instructor. You just have to go do remedial training on whatever it is that you messed up, and then you have to get another endorsement, and then you can go with the same DP that you started with, and they can finish the rest of your Checkride, and you can walk away with your little certificate. Alright, so this brings me to the end of the video, and I just want to throw in a few little reminders. Bottom line, a Checkride is pretty much a discussion between two pilots. One pilot's just more experienced than the other. No DPE wants to see you fail. They're all generally pretty fair. None of them are out to get you. They want to see you succeed. However, they exist for our safety, and they're trying to make sure that the quality of pilots that they put out are safe so everyone else can be safe, because flying can be really dangerous, and they want to make sure they don't just put any old Joe Schmo out there. So yeah, that's all I have today. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you can think of any other Checkride prep ideas, just drop them down in the comments below. I did reactivate the comment box. I don't know what happened on the last video, but I figured it out this time. So just feel free to drop a like, help me with that YouTube algorithm, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.